else or how good he is. And now he's the assistant head coach working under Sean Payton in Denver. So, all right, Smokin Jeremy B. We got two Smokins on today. We got Smokin Jeremy B. Jeremy Ballrick. Tell everybody about yourself. And we're broadcasting on some radio stations live, including the Hawaii Sports Network on the Sports Nuts Network. And we're on all different types of platforms here: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter X, and the Kick Network as well, and some Facebook pages. We're really broadcasting here now, the Sports Corner Show. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, I run the Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions YouTube channel. I also have the same name as a Facebook page. I'm a part of the Sports South Florida Tribune as a writer, writing about the Detroit Lions. I'm a part of Roundtable IO, writing about the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. And I also am a part of the Huddle Sports Network, which mostly covers the 4 teams in the NFC North, but we have shows from other teams as well. But since Dan Campbell took over the play calling in week 10, we're first in yards per play, third in points scored, fourth in touchdowns, 24th in punts, and 32nd, dead last in giving up turnovers.
Wow. I see. Okay. So Dan Campbell's actually made it better than Jeremy. Is that correct? Is that
well,
what
think about this? The only game that we had bad scoring in was when we scored 9 points versus the Eagles, which they don't give up a lot of points to teams.
No, they don't. No, Vic Fangio's a great defensive coordinator there for the Eagles, and they don't give up a lot of points. No, you're right.
Since he took over, we've scored 24, then 9, then 34, then 44, then 24, then 44 again, then 34.
All right. Brandon Keeler has said that we have 2,900 people listening on the radio. 2,900. Wow.
That's amazing.
That is
Thank
great.
you for listening, everybody.
Yes,
Dan
absolutely.
Campbell's doing better than people think. Where they've been lacking is third and fourth down execution. But that's a combination of the fact that we don't have as good of an interior O-line as we once had. So therefore, on third and short, we've had to pass instead of run, and coverage is better in the league this year.
I see. Okay, Smokin Jim, say hello to Smokin Jeremy B. Jeremy Ballrick.
Hey, Smokin Jim, Frazier. We've talked before. It's good to see you again. And hear you, or should I say hear you again?
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. All right. Jeremy, tell us a little bit about what the Steelers fans can expect. As you know, the Steelers play the Lions at Ford Field. What can we expect this year from the Lions?
Well, I'm hoping we see Miles Frazier, because we were told we were going to see him more the last game, and he didn't play but 5 snaps. Miles Frazier is the rookie we drafted out of LSU, who actually did better in pass protection than Tristan Colon, and we saw last week versus the Rams, he gave up both sacks that Goff took. So I don't understand why they say one thing and don't do it. I know that sometimes that's just coach speak, but sometimes coach speak has to go away and become real speak. Does it not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It does. You're absolutely correct. And sometimes that's what has to happen. Coaches, they speak what they want to say. Players will speak out with what they sometimes say, but it's all about what the coach says. Who cares about what some of the players say? You know what I mean?
Right.
In some perspective. But nowadays you can't do that anymore. Players speak out and say. Social media is out here now. You got players saying stuff on social media and going all across the board. Can't keep a secret of anything. You know what I mean? That goes on with the news media and social media and stuff. Smokin Jim Frazier, you have any comments or anything you want to add or a question you want to ask Jeremy?
Smokin Jeremy, I think people around the country don't give enough credit to how tough that division is out there with the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and I tell you what, man, every week, usually the Minnesota Vikings are a good football team too, man. It's like every week, man. Now Chicago Bears is really good this year, man, and to just go through that gauntlet of playing your division man, you got the injury just seeming to pile up. It just seems like whoever the healthiest at the end of the year will probably win this division. Is that the way you see it?
Well, right now, with the Packers losing Micah Parsons, Zach Tom, and a cornerback for the season last week, then you got Christian Watson, who's right now day to day because he narrowly missed a major chest injury with his MRI, but they don't know if he'll be ready to go this weekend. That's big blows to that defense. That's bigger blows than what we have. And if you actually look at our injury report, even though it has lots of players on there, 7 players were not even going to make the roster or were going to be backups. 4 of them are coming back off of injury right now. So that's where, I'm not as leery about it. What hurts is losing both all-pro safeties. But that's why we signed 2 all-pro safeties to come in. They just weren't ready for the Rams game. We signed DeMonte Kazee, who in 2018 was
he played for the Steelers.
Leader, and he played
Dallas
for the Steelers.
Cowboys. Yeah.
And then we signed Jalen Mills, who's a former Super Bowl champion, who played for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018. This is some vet presence we need because all we got are young guys who really don't know what they're doing back there.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Smokin' Jeremy B is brought to you in part by our new sponsor, the Bonfire Restaurant in Ocean City, Maryland. The Bonfire is a buffet restaurant, prime rib, all-you-can-eat seafood, and all-you-can-eat crab legs as well they offer. Great food, great cooking, some super-duper food, I got to tell you. And you need to visit the Bonfire today, and I'm going to highlight this a little bit here because I want you to see the phone number, if I can get it there. Oh, hold on a minute. I got to take Smokin' Jim's thing off of here so you can see the phone number there as well. Let me take Smokin' Jim off for a minute here. Let me do that, and then we'll get him back up there. All right, there we are. All right, now I'm going to highlight this so you can see the phone number. If I can even get that up. There we go. Come on. There we go. All right, still can't get the phone number highlighted. Oh, well.
The phone number is 410-524-7171.
Yeah, thank you very much. That because I had the phone number highlighted there that I wanted you guys to see.
Yep. But it's underneath your scrolling banner at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
I got you. That's why I read it off for you.
Yeah, area code 410-524-7171 is the phone number. Call the Bonfire today. They're having a New Year's Eve buffet. And if you want to get a seat, my suggestion to you is call and see if they can take a reservation. And as I said, great food, great service, some great people there. Stop by the Bonfire on Coastal Highway in Ocean City, Maryland. And I got to tell you, man, if you leave here hungry, you did something wrong. So there you are. All right. And that's our new sponsor, the Bonfire Restaurant. And I wanted to, and I forgot to mention this as well. Dwayne Morton was brought to you in part by North American Millwright Construction and Contracting. Call them today, 410-388-9870. North American Millwright. Now, look, they service West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, and I got to tell you, 5 states they service. So don't hesitate to call them today. Area code 410-388-9870. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. And they have done some great construction and contracting work on my home, and they do quality work. They really do, and they don't play around with the price either. All right, Smokin' Jim, do you have any more questions for Jeremy or anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just got one, Jeremy. I know the fans. In my opinion, the Detroit Lions is one of the historically great franchises in the National Football League, but they haven't won a world championship since 1958.
That was actually December 29th, 1957.
1957, and I know the fans must be really restless.
I say the same prayer at the beginning of every season. Just one before I die. Just one before I die, please.
Yeah,
Lord.
Exactly.
But, when we went into the draft, we were told by Frank he might be coming back. So that's why they really didn't draft a center. They drafted two guys that practiced at center but never played a snap in game out of college at guard, in Miles Frazier and Tate Ratliff. But that's because they expected Frank to be back. We all knew that Graham Glasgow is okay at center, but he's no Frank Ragnow. He's came in, and I think in the 2 years he's been here, we were 50-50 on wins and losses between the two seasons when Frank Ragnow had to be out due to injury. But that inoperable toe, and then while he was off this year, he didn't even realize it. He said, "Oh, I've got something going on with my chest. It hurts every now and then." He goes through the physical, and he literally tore his pectoral muscle from the bone.
Oh my! Wow. There's a lot of those injuries nowadays, Jeremy, and I think you'll agree with me. Pectoral injuries. Isaac Salamalu had one, and TJ Watt had one. So I mean, a lot of guys are getting these pectoral injuries.
Right.
And
but he did that. He did that while retired.
Oh,
he didn't do it in the game, and he came in for his
great.
physical. Says, "Yeah, I'm having some tightness here," and I was like, "If that's just tightness for this guy, how tough is this guy?"
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the fact he walked in and took an NFL physical and did the workout before the physical that he was supposed to do, passed the workout, does the physical and fail because he has a torn pectoral. How tough is he?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. Exactly. All right. Smokin Jeremy B. Tell us a little bit more. I know Dan Campbell's calling a play. Smokin Jim said he, and then you rebutted on that and everything else with the Detroit Lions. What's they're 8-6. Steelers are 8-6 now, and it looks like this could be a really dogfight kind of a game. I said at the beginning of the year I didn't think Dan Campbell could survive without his coordinators. He's managed to survive to 8-6. Okay, but they're not as good as they were last year with the coordinators. So and it's I'm right about that right now because they're at 8-6 right now. Something that I think a lot of Detroit Lions fans didn't expect. So.
Oh, actually, I kind of did. I expected us to have a less than stellar season like last year, but I thought it would be good enough to win the division because I didn't realize how much better the Packers and the Bears were in the division.
Oh, yeah. No one thought Ben Johnson and the Bears were going to be as good as they are this year.
But give them credit where credit's due.
Yes.
They're winning a lot of games. But who have they beaten? They beat the Eagles. They haven't beat us. And they haven't beat Green Bay yet.
No.
So that's their biggest test is this weekend. Even without Micah Parsons, that's still a test for them.
Yeah, it is. It is exactly.
So,
Green Bay. Micah Parsons has that back injury, and now he just got hurt again. So
torn ACL. He's out for the season.
Yes, exactly. He's out for the season. So Green Bay, Minnesota, they're a disappointing group of people. They're in last place in the division. They kind of disappointed me this year. I expected better from them, but that's not happening. And you guys have a bunched up division right now, where you have where everybody is sort of bunched up in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The top three are separated by 2 games. The only one that's out of it right now is Minnesota. But if they get hot and win out, and the rest of us lose, they're in the mix.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm not sugarcoating it. I said this would be one of the best divisions in football this year. And I said I think the second best division is the NFC West because I saw the Chiefs falling off. Remember when we did our AFC?
Yes, exactly. I said the same thing. The Chiefs were going to fall off. The luster of Mahomes and Kelsey, I hear now is threatening to retire at the end of the year. He can live off of Taylor Swift's money, that kind of thing. And so I saw that coming. I knew it too. You and I both called that. We both called that on the NFL roundtable that Kansas City was going to start falling. And, the Eagles, they haven't fallen as far down as KC, but they've fallen a little bit this year. They've lost some games they probably should have won, that kind of thing. And, so there's even a rumor out there they want Nick Sirianni fired. They want Todd Bowles fired. They want Mike Tomlin fired. There's a lot of coaches out there that people want fired.
The Todd Bowles one, I kind of get if you saw that epic failure versus the Falcons. They set a franchise record in accepted penalties and called penalties in that game. They had 19 penalties called, 17 accepted for 125 yards. To put that in perspective, Behan Robinson rushed for 32 yards less than they had penalty yards, and yet they managed to win that game.
Yeah, exactly. And Raheem Morris, of course, Brandon Keeler from the Sports Nuts, is a big fan of Atlanta Falcons. They're failing. Raheem Morris, they want him out. So my next question to you, Jeremy, before I let you go, because we got to wrap things up, get to our Wrestle Talk show. Your thoughts on Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn? I know Aaron Glenn's having it tough up in the Jets. I don't think anybody can help them. You know what I mean at all. But do you think he made a mistake on letting Aaron Rodgers go? Smokin Jim Frazier seems to think that. Do you think that he should have kept Aaron Rodgers there for at least 1 year to acclimate himself or whatever?
Aaron Rodgers was worse than Zach Wilson statistically for the Jets, so I understood it.
Right.
So you got to put it in perspective. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he's a great quarterback, but if you give him dog food ingredients, you're going to get dog food play.
I like that.
And that's all Mara and the GM has put on that roster so far is dog food ingredients.
I like that. That's a good one.
Stars.
Yeah,
and they traded away 2 of those defensive stars at the trade deadline, and for a couple of games, it looked like they were getting it. Why? Aaron Glenn kept the people that was buying into his system. But
right? Yeah,
it's no different than that year where we kept the guys that were buying in, but were high priced in 2021 with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Guess what? By the end of the season, the ones that didn't buy in, they were gone, right?
There's kids in Africa, sis. She's sorry.
Charles Xavier. Yes, we know there's kids in Africa, but guess what? There's homeless, hungry kids in America too that need our love.
Exactly. All right. Okay, Smokin Jim Frazier. Any final thoughts or anything you want to add for Smokin Jeremy B?
Great job, Smokin Jeremy B. Outstanding information, man.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy, for being part of the program as always, and we'll be in touch. Thank you. Smokin Jeremy B. Jeremy, promote yourself. How can people find you, get a hold of you, your social media sites, and all that stuff?
Yep. You can find me at Jeremy Ballrick on Facebook. You can find me at Smokin Jeremy B on Twitter, at Smokin Jeremy B1 on Instagram. You can also find me on my channel on YouTube, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions. You can find me on Amazon and Roku with the Huddle Sports app. Good to see you, Cyber-Risky.
Yeah.
And you can also find me on the SouthFloridaTribune.com, where I write about the Detroit Lions, and on the Roundtable IO, where I write about the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, so you've indulged into the Jacksonville Jaguars. Liam Cohen, man, he's doing pretty good down there.
Yeah, and I did say they'd be a better team this year, but I had it coming down.
Real quick, Todd Bowles is in the same situation. He lost Liam Cohen, and there we go. So
and the offense isn't controlling the clock like it used to.
Right, exactly.
Get gassed, and they're giving up points late. Here's something else to look at. Remember when they were 5-1 and they played Detroit and ended up 5-2?
Yes, that's where the slide came. They started
ever since then. They've been 2-6.
Yeah, they have been. I like Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield had the luxury of 2 good offensive coordinators. He really did, and now we'll see what happens. Todd Bowles is another Mike Tomlin. He'll go 9-8 this year, possibly make the playoffs. We'll see, but we'll find out. All right, thank you again, Jeremy, for being on the program. We'll be in touch. Thank you, and that was Smokin Jeremy B. Jeremy Ballrick from the Kneecap Biting. Smokin Jim, real quick, any final thoughts? Anything you want to add? And give me a score for this week's game. Go. 34-32, right?
Well, I tell you what, for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win, they're going to have to score in the 30s. So I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have a shot. 34-32, Pittsburgh.
All right. Thank you for being part of the program here, Vogs 18. Unfortunately, we're getting ready to go off. We're getting ready to come back with Wrestle Talk. That's coming up next, right here on the Sports Nuts Network. We'll be back in a few moments. Wrestle Talk, lots to talk about. Saturday night's main event, John Cena's retirement, and a whole lot more. But before we go, don't forget tomorrow at 3 to 4 p.m. on Philadelphia station 860 AM WWDB. Here it is.